I guess 4 to 5 weeks maybe till the city election. Joining us this morning is Matt Hubbard, who is a candidate for the mayoral position in the city of Sylacauga coming up on August 26th. And Matt, good morning.
Good morning, Jimmy Dale.
Good to have you with us today. And you know, you were on back some time ago, but I want to refresh our memory a little bit. Give us a little bit about your background. We'll go from there.
Okay, yeah, and it's been about 4 months since the last time I was here. Now, as far as my professional background goes, I'm actually a retired educator. I had a 32-year career. That career started up in Madison County in Huntsville at Buckhorn High School. I had the great fortune of working with Principal Mr. Tommy Ledbetter, who by the end of his career was actually the national high school principal in all of America. So I had the good fortune of being mentored under him my first few years. Had the great fortune of blessing to have coached a state championship team up at Buckhorn in girls basketball in 1994. I got tenure. It's ironic because the day that I received my tenure letter in Madison County is the same day that I decided to leave Buckhorn and go to Shades Valley High School in Jefferson County. And at that time, Shades Valley was the flagship of Jefferson County schools. A lot of people will remember the old Shades Valley High School that was tucked away right there at the Red Mountain Expressway. I worked there the last year of that high school when it was in existence. And then my second year at Shades Valley was the first year of the new school over off of I-20 over there in Irondale. So I had the good fortune of working with some Hall of Fame coaches and Robert Higginbotham and Owen Butts, and folks still know those two names in the high school ranks in Alabama. So again, I had the good fortune of being around some great leaders and mentors. And then when I decided to leave there, I just moved my sister and brother-in-law to Sylacauga, and Amy was the new UNISERV director here for Talladega County. And she called and said, hey, there's an opening at Sylacauga High School. And I'll be honest with you, at that point in time, I was really thinking about going into law school at that point in time after about 5 years in the profession, and had good success and everything. But I came down here and I met with Tommy Porch, was the lead of that interview. There were about 8 other folks in that interview, and it went well, and they offered me the job, and I've been here ever since.
Yeah. Wow.
So, and you know, my career actually here in Sylacauga, I was a teacher and coach here for 7 years at the high school, coached various boys and girls sports. And then I moved into administration, was assistant principal at Sylacauga High School for 5 years, then became principal at Sylacauga High School for 5 years, and then my last 10 years, I was in a position that we've never ever had in the history at Sylacauga City, nor I don't believe it's been replaced, but I was over director of operations for the school system for the past 10 years, or the last 10 years of my career.
Yeah. In education, education then and education now has changed just a little bit.
Oh, yeah. The pandemic changed it now. Education they've always been trending, you know, is the big A word, accountability. And that movement, so to speak, kind of hit about midway of my professional career. And then something about the pandemic, when certain schools were closing down, other school systems stayed open, you had that type of controversy going on. And now, not just to mention the social aspect of the pandemic and the ramifications of that, but you see a greater emphasis on mental health. You know, and I'll say this, we were saying that in public education a decade prior to the pandemic, you know, that we needed more mental health support coming through the public school system, because you would see it. You would see kids coming from broken homes and disadvantaged situations and so forth. So we knew there was a need there, and I'm honestly, I'm glad to see it. I think we have 9 facilities just in here, just in Sylacauga, that address mental health issues. So it's good to have that support.
Well, you fast forward a little bit, and you retire. And begin to look at what's available. When you retire from the school system, doesn't mean you're going to ride off into the sunset,
No.
a lot of times, but there's some things that you wanted to do.
Yep.
Talk about that a little.
Well, I was blessed to have started education. I tell people I was a baby when I began my career. I was 21 when I started my that 32-year career, so I was 53 when I retired from that full career. And at 53, and with my educational background and experiences, and just at that age at 53, you're not done working. You may be done with that particular career, but there's still more work out there to be done. And so I did. I've done some consulting work, and I was hired. I was one of 40 retirees who were hired to mentor first-year administrators across the state of Alabama. So I've been doing that, and that's a retired, if you would, like a part-time type job. And I've been doing that, and that's been, very small time investment for a huge return with these mentees and these first-year administrators. So I'm real proud of that, and I've enjoyed that work. And when I retired, I'd say the last 7-8 years, I've had a lot of people talk to me about getting into politics here in Sylacauga. And it's just, I don't want to say I blew it off, because I did consider, would stop and think what they were saying and take it to heart. But I had a career that I had to finish, I had to complete. And of course, we're still raising the boys, Brady and Hayden. And so when I retired, those conversations became more prevalent. And more people started talking to me about that possibility. And I believe I've shared with you in the past, Jimmy Dale, there were 4 things that had to take place in order for me to even consider running for mayor. And when those 4 things came to fruition, I just took it as a sign from our Creator that, hey, it's time to go. Let's go with this.
You qualified for the mayor's office, and did you know anything about the mayor's office or anything?
I say probably more than just the common citizen, but less than what a sitting mayor is known. I've spoken with all of our living past mayors. I've had conversations with them and gleaned some wisdom from them. I have friends who are mayors in other cities across the state, so I've kind of bounced things off of them. So you never know 100% exactly what you're getting into, but I have a good idea, because in my professional positions, those here in Sylacauga especially, I've had a relationship with every mayor, every city council person since I've been here through that professional career. So I understand, the biggest role or responsibility of the mayor, you're basically the administrator for the city. Yeah. And that's what I've done. The last 20 years, I've been in a role of administrator, and especially those last 10 years, being over different departments. And what's ironic, or what's neat to me, is that serving in that role through the school system actually allowed me to work with department heads in the city who are still department heads in the city. So I already have that pre-existing relationship with a lot of the department heads and employees at City Hall. So I feel good about that.
We have seen stories in other parts of the state and world of people in position in city government, and they may have started out just to borrow a dime or a dollar or something. The first thing you know, they're embezzling millions of dollars out. And so you got to have a solid head to keep on top of stuff like this. You got to surround yourself with good people.
Absolutely, and I have a background. That's one of the biggest things, especially when I was coaching. I was pretty particular about who my assistants were. And you want to surround yourself with the right people because of the impact on those youth that you're coaching at that time. Well, now it's just on a much larger stage. I always have tried to be a person of integrity. I live my life by the 3 F's, faith, family, and fellowship. And That keeps me centered. My prayer life keeps me grounded, and just being a person of integrity. And then, you look at those type things, situations of where mayors or political figures, they've stolen money, embezzled, all that type stuff. That's just a matter of being grounded in your faith, being a person of integrity, being able to have those difficult conversations when other people have to hear no. Sometimes no has to be the answer. Yeah. And it's nothing personal, it's prophetic. You keep moving on. But so, and I go back to my experience with like finances and budgeting, the do's and the don'ts, and just knowing what to stay away from and how to go about doing that work as far as budgeting and so forth in the proper manner, and having those proper checks and balances too. So the elected official may not be the one taking the money. It may be that municipal employee. Yeah. And so as a leader, you've got to know how to, observe that and keep those checks and balances and know when 1 and 1's not equaling 2. So, and I have that experience. I've had the training, the experience, the background, and the know-how to lead in that.
Discipline in the schools, discipline in the mayor's office. There's got to be discipline.
Absolutely. And when I was an administrator in the school system, we used to work with police chiefs in forming our emergency management plans and so forth. And always working on that student code of conduct and revising it, trying to keep it up to date as much as possible to meet current needs and trends and so forth. So I have that experience. Now, how does that equate to municipal leadership? Well, it's no different than supporting your police chief, your fire chief, I apologize for that, and a municipal court. And making sure that we have ordinances that are well written and can actually be enforced. So, and I've got that experience because when I worked at the central office with operations when Dr. Todd Freeman was here, he asked me to go back and work through the policy manual and to try to streamline a lot of our procedures and processes and policies and so forth. And we took a policy manual that was about that high and we got it, down to very manageable and very organized and easy to read. And so I have experience in doing that, and I understand the correlation there. And I know the role of the mayor when it comes to municipal court and helping create those ordinances and then enforcing those ordinances and making sure you're supporting your police department when they're out and about and see a violation and so forth. So,
if you are elected mayor, city of Sylacauga, August the 26th, what do you see some pluses for our city?
Oh, wow. I love telling people about the potential of Sylacauga. And, of course, I'm a big supporter of the Earth Project. We talked about that the last time I was on the show. Since, over the past 4 months, since the last interview, we've had the Spark exhibit at the Comer Museum. We have the Smithsonian Museum exhibit on display here in Sylacauga at the Comer Museum. I encourage you, if you haven't been out, get out because it's about to be wrapped up and so forth. And so, and then the Earth Project, and it's just amazing the potential that the Earth Project represents. It's not just for Sylacauga, but this region, this part of the state of Alabama. And so what that means for our ability to recruit business and industry in here and to have a sustainable economic pipeline, so to speak. So, and what I like about having the business incubation side of the Earth Project is whatever because we have projections that are put out. These are going to be the jobs in the future and this, that, and the other. Yeah. Whatever that is, Earth can, and with the help of your local school systems and your community college, they can start getting ahead of that curve and offering these certifications and credentialing and those type things. But what that means for our local economy is that we're going to be up to date. We're going to be in that trend of whatever may be going on and have the potential to have a local business to offer.
We've got to be.
Yeah. And so for a small community like Sylacauga, that is just huge because it means that you're going to be should be economically stable for decades to come, just based off of those opportunities if they're utilized properly, and I believe they will be.
Have you been able to find out where we are financially? We stable in Sylacauga financially?
Yes, we're stable. I actually looked at that last night, Jimmy Dale. A lot of people want to make an issue of our debt right now, and it is. I mean, we're all tax-paying citizens. That should be a concern. But our debt ratio right now is around 13% of all revenues. Now, anything at 10% or below is considered exceptional. Now, when you need to start worrying is when that debt ratio starts getting up around 20%. Well, we're at 13% right now. We basically have, I'm just going to round some numbers off. We have about $30 million in revenue a year. And out of that $30 million in revenue right now, our debt for this year is around $4 million. Next year it jumps up $1 million, it'll be close to $5 million. So that'll leave you, if revenues stay the same, that'll leave $25 million for personnel and departments and to run the city with.
Wow. We are visiting with Matt Hubbard, who is candidate for Sylacauga mayoral position coming up on August the 26th. And Matt, what are some people talking to you about on the streets? I know you're knocking on doors, and
yep.
What are they saying to you?
It's about equal when you talk to people standing in their doorway. The two things that I'm getting most is one, City Hall. We've got to clean City Hall up. It's to really summarize that. They think it's a mess, and so that's one thing.
Do you?
I do agree with it, but I'm real quick to tell them this is that it's really isolated. It's a small group of individuals or employees. And if, like I had the benefit of sitting through the Civil Service Board hearings, and so unless someone perjured themselves in that testimony, I know the reality of that. I know the truth behind those things. And so I know who's done what, said what, and led to this, this, and this. And so the good news is we have a ton of great employees at City Hall. It's just a few who are kind of, the whole rotten apple in the basket type thing, but it's there. The good news is that it's easily corrected, and if we get the right leadership in place, you're gonna have to have good leadership and personnel skills. And I literally, through my years with the school system, I've dealt with hundreds. That's no exact hundreds of personnel issues, and so I think I said this 4 months ago. What's going on at City Hall right now, when it hit leadership and it had received the proper attention from leadership at that point in time, and I believe I said use the Barney Fife principle, you nip it in the bud.
Yeah.
These personnel issues that we're dealing with and spending lots of money, lots of our taxpayer dollars are going toward lawyers resolving this. It would have been nipped and nobody would even have ever known that there was an issue going on because it would have been handled properly at the onset. So.
We are talking with Matt Hubbard, who's candidate for mayor of the city of Sylacauga in the August 26th election. Matt, go back in time, and was there a time that Matt Hubbard said, this is for me, I'm going to qualify?
Yes, like I said earlier, when those four things that I needed to happen in order to even consider this, when they did happen, as a person of faith, I took that at faith and face value. I took it as a sign. Sat down, Natalie and I had that conversation. We talked to the boys about it, and from that point forward, it was time to go. I mean, we started planning, organizing, doing our research and so forth, and I have to admit, the last 4 months, And I told Natalie this when I committed to it. I said, there's going to be a lot of great moments. I said, but there's going to be a few ugly moments. And I said, I'm going to enjoy every second of it, however the outcome is. And I have so far. I can sit here and say that I have thoroughly enjoyed every second of this process so far.
If you are elected mayor, what would be the first few things that you addressed?
Well, coming in and meeting department heads and employees, sitting down, working with them, making sure that they understand that they have a clean slate. There's a new leader, there's new leadership. I have a relational style, leadership style. And so just knowing they have that clean slate and you're going to have the opportunity to build that trust and earn that trust, I'm going to build that rapport with you and relationship and start going from that. But simultaneously, as we're working on these personnel issues over here, from day one, start organizing flood mitigation, because that's the other thing that people are saying. It's equal. You hear City Hall's a mess, and hey, we have flooding issues in our neighborhood. And just about every neighborhood in Sylacauga has some form of flooding issues, some greater, some smaller, but it's still flooding issues. So just knowing that on day one, we're going to be addressing personnel, and we will be addressing flood mitigation for the city.
As we get closer to the election on August the 26th, take about 5 minutes and talk to the voters as to why they should elect you as mayor of the city of Sylacauga on August 26th.
Well, Sylacauga family, on August 26th, we have the opportunity for new leadership in our city. I know a lot of you were not able to attend the Civil Service Board hearings months back and so forth, or know the reality of those personnel issues, like I stated a minute ago, that are costing us hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxpayers, that money should be being spent somewhere else. And if we have the right leadership in place with the right background, the experience, the knowledge, the know-how, the people skills to get people to come together to the table, work together, and as far as the municipal side of it, I'm a person of efficiency. I like going in as an administrator, going in and looking at standard operating procedures. Each department will have key performance indicators. I'm going to look at those key performance indicators, see how well we're performing and meeting these indicators, and then that's going to give you an efficiency, and that lets us know the areas that we need to work in within that department and areas that we know we're doing well at. And then what you say, well, what does that relate? Well, that relates to how well our tax dollar is being spent. It's called ROI, return on investment. So a vote for Matt Hubbard on Tuesday, August 26th, that type of leadership and administration skills will be in place on day one. Now, that's some of the business side of this. I know how to do budgets, short range, long range budget, 1 year budget, 4 year budget, out to 15, 20-year projections. I understand how to create revenue. I understand economic development. I know that from my public school experience, how career tech and dual enrollment and so forth with our community college, how that works hand in hand with workforce development. And when we get the Earth Project set up, running, going, we will be set to have just something fantastic here for decades to come for our youth. And I know I speak a lot about youth, but I focus on our senior citizens as well. What we do through Parks and Recreation at the Maxie Veazey Center. We have a very active senior program, and I want to look to continue to support that as well. So in our hospital, library, I don't want to leave anything out, but we have so many positive and good things going on in Sylacauga. I don't want to just maintain these things. I want to improve upon these things. So a vote on Tuesday, August 26th for Matt Hubbard, that will be what you're getting.
One other thing before we go, and I was going to ask you this earlier, there seems to be some of the meetings I've looked in on, there is question with the fire department and with the police department and who's getting what. How can you put your arms around this and let's say, hey, let's slow down here. We're on the same team.
Absolutely, you know, and when this election, when the dust settles from this, it's like I said at my launch party, we're all Team Sylacauga, we're all pulling that rope in the same direction. But again, the issue going back with the salary matrix or the pay schedule between different departments at City Hall, again, it goes back to administrative leadership. I've been part of salary matrix revisions through the school system. I understand where the how the step raises should be applied, how that should be fair across the board, and also how you can incorporate these educational raises as well. But you know, in the business world, they're really sharp on this because they've gone to credentialing. Yeah. You know, in the business world, you can make more money by going out and getting a credential before you can a degree. So, you know, we need to look at that too, and what opportunities our employees and directors have for not just earning degrees, but being credentialed through different organizations, and how that can benefit their pay as well.
Open door policy?
Absolutely. I always have been. My whole life's open door.
Okay. Matt, appreciate you coming by this morning.
Thank you, Jimmy Dale.
And continued success. And August 26th, Sylacauga City elections. And we got the forum coming up, I think, on the 12th. At J. Craig Smith Community Center, so we got a little ways to go yet, but make sure, and I know you've already mentioned this, please push a little bit harder on getting out to vote.
Yes, get out to vote. Get out to vote. This is your opportunity. I know a lot of people like to get on social media and rant and rave, and that, you know, that's fine if it helps, you know, get it off your chest and so forth, but don't just stop there. Get out and vote, you know, and I encourage everyone. I feel like there's a lot more excitement about this election this year, just going around and speaking with people. So we're hoping for a record voter turnout, and we normally average around 2,000 to 2,500 on a municipal election. Let's get that up over 3,000. Yeah. Let's get it close to 4,000. We have about 8,500 registered voters in Sylacauga. Let's get that percentage up. Let's get out and vote your conscience and your candidate of choice.
Absolutely. All right. Appreciate you coming by, Matt. We got more coming up.
Thank you, Jim.